How's it going, Metlers? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. I've had a few days off. Did quite a bit of overtime at work, and I was a bit rough for a couple of days. I've got this rotten cold that I can't quite shift, but with enough booze, I'll get through it. So, right, first review in a while. We're going to be talking about the new album from Massacre, Resurgence. Now, if you cast your mind back, if you're a regular viewer, if this is your first video, how's it going? Welcome aboard. But yes, cast your mind back. A few weeks ago, I did the review of Inhuman Condition, and I did say I was a little bit worried. It'd not long been announced that Massacre were doing a new album. Kam Lee's. I've just got this in the post, by the way, so I haven't even opened it yet. I've just took the cellophane off. Let's have a look for this booklet, shall we, before we go any further. Awesome artwork. See Cthulhu in the background there. Got a quote there from old Mr. Howard Lovecraft. Not much going on, to be honest. You just got a load of lyrics. Oh, David Ingram is doing vocals on and Mark Crew. It's cool that David's on there. That's really cool. I was going to send David a message after this. Actually, I was going to say, "How good is this new album, eh?" So that's cool that he's turned up on there. He was going to get mentioned anyway later on. You'll see in a sec when I got a guest solo by Peter Slate as well. Yeah, so there's just a few notes here on the back. I don't know if there's anything worth going into. Not really. All lyrics by Kam Lee. Yep. Dedicated to the memory of Brian Patterson for giving us the glorious times. The track Book of the Dead is dedicated to the memory of Killjoy of Necrophagia. Yeah, cool. Right, now, cast your mind back to Inhuman Condition. I said, yeah, there's going to be a new out. This is Kam Lee with a new lineup, but I'm a little bit not too sure because of the musicians that he had. I was a little apprehensive of whether it was going to be a Massacre album as such, because you know these European and British musicians, while you know Massacre were quite distinctively an American death metal band, you know, Florida based and all the rest of it. I don't know if they were originally Florida. I know Rick Ross and Terry Butler were, and Terry Butler's Florida based. He's in Obituary now, and obviously they were in Death, but Death relocated to, so yeah, well, whether they're Florida, I don't know, but yeah, that's what I was getting at really. And anyway, more for me. I did say at the time as well, I hope I'm wrong, and I was wrong. And very glad to be, because this album is a fucking monster. But we'll go into that in a second. So we'll go into the band's new lineup. I mean, I think anyone that's been following the story of Massacre, it's all got a bit confusing. You had the new album Back From Beyond from 2014. So that was Rick Ross with Terry Butler with a new drummer and a new singer. That's now scrapped, and Kam Lee is taking the helm. Although they did reform with Kam Lee for about 5 minutes. It looked like it was more or less the original lineup to a point, and then it was just Kam Lee and Rick and a couple of other guys. Then I think Kam Lee did something with a couple of members of Massacre. It was meant to be a new band, but they ended up just doing gigs playing Massacre songs. That became a bit of a balls up. And now we've got the lineup that we've got now, so we're going to go through it. You've got 3 guitarists. You've got Roger Johansson on guitars. You've got Scar Fairfax on lead, and Johnny Peterson on guitar, keyboards, and vocals and backing. I think Scott Fairfax now, he's in Memoriam, if I believe. So he's British, yep, and was he in Memoriam? Let's just quickly have a look. He was in Cerebral Fix. I don't know. Where did I get Memoriam from? I don't know where I got that from. Yes, he is in Memoriam, yes. I believe, though, he's only done solos. So Johnny Peterson and Roger have done the guitars, but he's just done solos. And also he's going to be doing 2 lineups. I think he's got like a lineup for America, but then another lineup for Europe. So it's only Kam that has to tour as such, or tour between. And with everything else what's going on, he's probably a pretty good idea to do, you know, with all the different restrictions. It changes from country to country, and it's changing every bloody week. So, right, so Kam Lee's back on board, and Mike Balders is back on board on bass. Now, Mike Balders played on the demos before the From Beyond album, and you've got Brynjar Helgeton, I think, on drums. Now, what I want to speak to you about for is Johnny Peterson, Roger Johansson, and Brynjar Helgeton on drums. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, guys. Because now, I'm just going to turn this light on to get a bit more. I knew that this was going to be a good album because all the musicians involved in this are pretty much responsible for half my record CD collection, even. So you look at all that there. Now, if I got rid of all of these and just bought Roger Johansson CDs, I wouldn't feel this. The guy's done so much music, and every week there's another project. So I went to grab a few just to give you an example to show you off, and that ended up being the pile. And this is only 1 CD from each project, so it gets a bit complicated. So let's go through this. So you've got, your Roger Johansson, he's got the Eyes of Purgatory. Again, a couple of albums by them, but I just grabbed the one. I'll grab both for some reason. But yeah, you got 2 solo albums. Now, Roger also works with David Ingram. That's how I first got acquainted with Roger, with Down Among the Dead Men project, and Echelon. Now, David Ingram has also worked with Johnny Peterson. We'll get to Johnny Peterson in a minute as well. Right. So, Roger has also in a band called Rib Spreader. I didn't even know I had this CD till I started looking through stuff, and I actually come across this on the shelf. So yeah, this is the full discography of... I'll get the book out because you're getting a bit of glare there. This is the full discography of Rib Spreader. Now, Rib Spreader is Roger with the other 2 guys of Inhuman Condition. You see, it's all getting a bit intertwined now, but it's going to get a lot worse. So, right. So, Johnny Peterson is in Heads of the Dead, I think this band's called. Yeah, Heads for the Dead. This is a fucking really cool album. Check this out if you can. They've just released a second one, I believe. I've not had a chance to check it out yet. Who's this? This is Banished from Inferno. Nope, that's another Roger project there. Well, I'll come to them in a sec. Yeah, Johnny Peterson. So you got Serpent's Curse by Heads for the Dead. You've got Harry Kane. This is the first album, but he's got a... Oh, no, here's a second Harry Kane album. I think that's pretty much it. Now here's another one for... put those down there. For Roger Johansson. You got Paganizer. This is real brutal death metal as well. Well worth checking this out. And I've even got a... LP of the latest album. Now, you get a bit of a click coming out. It's all in Europe, and most of the stuff comes out on Transcending Obscurity Records, and a few of them have come... I know is from being a fan of David Ingram. I was following all the stuff he was doing. Now he's back in Benediction, which was great, but I was quite happy anyway with what he was doing. And I was quite happy with what Kam Lee was doing, because... We'll get to that in a sec. So Johnny Peterson, I've just showed you his projects. Oh, Berserker Legion as well. Where's that? Have I got that somewhere? Somewhere that's easy to grab? That's a really good album. Berserker Legion. Remember that. If I can see it quickly, I'll grab it. No, sorry about that, folks. That's Lost in the Wilderness somewhere. I could have sworn it was. My collection actually isn't in alphabetical order. It's not in any kind of order, but I do roughly know where things are. You'd think, but. No, sorry guys, I don't know where it is, but yeah, check out Berserker Legion. But then Johnny Peterson also did some projects with David Ingram. So you've got Down Among the Dead and Echelon, where David Ingram collaborates with Roger. Also, the drummer, whose name I keep butchering, he's on a couple of those albums as well. I can't remember which ones. But then Roger Peter has also collaborated with David Ingram on, I can never pronounce this, Your Sin or Your Sinin or something like that. This is the Swim with the Leviathan. This is a really fucking cool album as well. This is from the box set edition. Managed to get this signed by both of them as well, because I saw them both performing together in Just Before Dawn. If you're into your bolt thrower, definitely. I'm going to be doing a Let's Talk About video on these guys at some point, actually. So there's the. Yeah, we'll get back to that another day. That Berserker Legion is really pissing me off. I know it's here somewhere, and I know I'm going to come up with it as soon as this video's finished. Right. So Roger Johansson has also collaborated with Kam Lee in Bone Gnawer, as well as, and I've not got any of these albums actually, but it's also the Skeletal, the Grotesquerie, and Johnny has also collaborated with Kam Lee in Night Raven. Another really fucking cool album. I think that's pretty much everything. And the drummer, yeah, also has been in Down Among the Dead Men and Just Before Dawn. So yeah, you get... There's a big group of musicians and they all collaborate and it all intertwines. And to be honest, it can be a bit of a ball ache keeping up with everyone because... And none of that, it's a bit... Financially, it's a bit of a bastard as well, because you can imagine... Now, everything I've just shown you is just one album from each project. I mean, Down Among the Dead Men, you got 3 albums. Echelon, you got 2 albums. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. No, I think that's pretty much it. And there's stuff coming out as well. So, when it came out that Kam Lee was working with these guys, it didn't surprise me at all. And the fact that Johnny and Roger are working together on a project... Yeah, no doubt in my mind were these group of people not going to do a good album. But it was like, yeah, but is it going to be a Massacre album? Because, you know, European death metal and American death metal are two different things. You know, American death metal, just let me reposition myself there. The American death metal, it kind of... It's like it's intense from the heat, whilst... death metal in Europe is sort of, it's reacting to the cold and dreariness of the eternal winters that we have. So it's a bit of a, there's a different feel, isn't there? You know that. So yeah, I was just like, is this going to really be a Massacre album? But like I say, I was pleasantly surprised to be completely wrong, because this album is awesome. And yeah, so also when did From Beyond come out? This was about 1991, something like that. So yeah, look, it's kind of pointless comparing an album, although I did read an interview with Kam Lee recently, and he did say he had in mind, and he told the musicians to keep in mind, that they are doing a follow-up to From Beyond. And fair play to them, I understand what they're doing. But from a listener's point of view, even if this was the original or the classic lineup, so say this was Rick Ross with Terry Butler, or Mike Borders, you know, because it's him that was on those original songs, because all the songs on this album were actually available in demo form. So a lot of you saw some div once. I remember seeing a review that this was like a Johnny Come Lately album to the scene. It was like, nah, you've not done your own work, mate. Those songs were beforehand, when death metal was in its formation. So those are really important songs. And just wait for this camera to take the blur out. We'll find out the focus. Anyway, let it find its feet. But what was I saying? Yeah, so even if it was, you know, I forget the guys on the original drums now. Oh, for fuck's sake, he was in Death. Oh, bollocks, what's his name? Terry Butler on bass and Bill Andrews. There we go. So if you have Bill Andrews on drum, Rick Ross on guitar, either Terry or Mike on bass, even if it was the original lineup, it's a fool's errand comparing what they bring out something 20, 30 years later. I mean, it's pointless. It's just like when At the Gates reformed or when Carcass reformed. Fuck comparing it to the original run, because this is a new... They're not those same people anymore. They've all grown, they've all thing, and this is a new lineup, new thing. So what you're better off saying is basically take it on face value and just enjoy it for what it is. And that's the best, I think, most sensible approach that anyone can have. And yeah, this is a really fantastic album. It's really infectious. It gets better with every listen. There's loads of great hidden little details in that just, you know, reveal themselves with every listen. The fact that I didn't realise that David Ingram was on was doing a bit of guest vocals on one of the songs, so that's just really cool. I didn't realise that until I literally looked on the CD, so that's really cool. Yeah, so let's get into the song. So it starts off, I didn't realise as well, but if you look on the track list in there, the album's actually divided into 3 segments. Lots of Lovecraftian lyrics by the looks of it. Eldritch Prophecy, the Ruins of R'lyeh, I don't know how you pronounce that. The Innsmouth Strain, that's familiar enough. But then you've got like the obligatory Evil Dead track. Every metal band, every metal album needs to have an Evil Dead song. But yeah, you've got Book of the Dead, Necronomicon, Ex Mortis, which was basically Lovecraftian anyway. Whisper in the Darkness, I don't know if that could well be. Far Off Into the Void. And then you've got 2... Oh yeah, Fate of the Elder Gods, yeah, more Lovecraft. But then you've got 2 sequels. You've got Spawn of the Succubus and Return of the Corpse Grinder. Obviously, you've got Corpse Grinder and Succubus on From Beyond. So, yeah, it's all good. So, yeah, Eldritch Prophecy as a cool sort of cinematic introduction. Cool song. It changes pace as it goes. It's sort of like a slow build up of a song that sort of builds up to a sort of intense sort of climax in the middle, but then sort of slows down to a nice slow doomy sort of slow chugging grooving riff towards the end. Ruins, it's a nice sort of choppy riffs. Good head banging inducing groove that it sort of reduces down. Awesome melodic solo on that as well, which is a nice surprise. And that's something that's to be said for the album, is that all through this there's actually quite a lot of melody. There's a lot of melodic soloing going on, sort of melodic leads at the beginning. There's always just a little thing there, it just sort of breaks through it all and just takes you by surprise. And yeah, really cool little element to add in there. The Innsmouth Strain, again, more melody in the chorus. It's got sort of like a Slayer-like solo as well. When I say Slayer-like, you know, I'm trying to forget the name. That you know, when they do the odd one rather than when Kerry just goes, you know. But there was one. The melody kind of had that off-timey sort of thing that Slayer would have. The Whisper in the Darkness is an amazing sort of shredding at the beginning of that. Really cool melodic solo again. One thing as well that's all apparent through this is Kam's vocals on this are fucking awesome. He's such a good vocalist, and he really does deserve credit in the... he deserves to be mentioned among the best and definitely the most iconic of death metal vocalists. I mean, he more or less set the tone for what a death metal vocalist should be. But those piercing, high-pitched screams. Like, they're all present. And also the old dun 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 dun, you know, got a riff going on, and they'll just go, hey! Kam Lee's hey is just as iconic as Tom Fisher's ooh. You know, you need both. So, yeah, it's all, and there's plenty of them all the way through it. Just like with Tom in Triptychon and Celtic Frost before, you know, you need that ooh. But when it kicks in, and yeah, Kam, whenever there's just a bit of music going, wherever there's not been very many vocals for a little while, you just get the hey, you know, it's great. So Book of the Dead, well, yeah, like I mentioned before, the Evil Dead song, but again, awesome shredding. I mean, the riffs, again, between Johnny and Roger, you was always going to get great riffs. You know, there's certainly not short in supply. That's one good thing as well. One point I wanted to make when I was showing you off all those albums is that, again, all these people collaborate with each other and it all sort of intertwines, and, you know, you can get lost on Metal Archives connecting the dots of everyone that's been on each other's albums. But one thing as well, I remember saying this to Dave Ingram a couple of times because he was on the Metal Show with Gully and Joe. I think he was our most frequent guest. And I said it's just surprising, it's another death metal project with these people, but you always manage to make them different, and that's another credit to it, you know. And Servants of the Discord is a good death. That's more of a death. Excuse me, this cold just isn't going. Yeah, that had a cool death and roll vibe to it. Again, really catchy, really cool. It's Fate of the Elder Gods. I didn't mention, did I? I was talking about something else, and I went into Book of the Dead as shredding on that song. It's just fucking awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's always fun to have Evil Dead's one of my favourite films. I'm sure it's one of yours too. Fate of the Elders, I'll get back to that again. More shredding, really good solo at the beginning. Nice nasty chords in the chorus as well. Spawn of the Succubus has an amazing riff at the beginning. This real sort of crazy technical, not overly technical, but just a nice, it's almost like an Eddie Van Halen, you know. And yeah, really cool shredding again. And Return of the Corpse Grinder is more or less just a replay of Corpse Grinder, the original, but it's still good fun. Really good chorus as well. Excuse me. Oh shit. It's I'll sum it up in a second. Let me just get this. I'm all clogged up. But overall, yeah, mission accomplished, guys. You know, they've made a worthy follow-up. It's, you know, as everyone knows, there's been 100 reunions, and it didn't look like there was ever going to be another album, or certainly not one with Kam Lee. And yeah, look, this is the same with what I said about the Benediction album when David Ingram had rejoined. It was like I'd accepted that it wasn't going to happen, and I was fine with it because I was happy. I was happy with Benediction as they were, and I was happy listening to Dave do what he was doing, and didn't expect it. So when it did finally happen, it just come out of nowhere, and it was like, well, this is like a Christmas present that I never thought I was ever going to get, so I didn't bother asking. But there you go, boom. There it was. And it's the same with this. It was with the various projects that Kam Lee's doing, and you know, he's put out a couple of solo albums. I think some of these musicians I mentioned are even on that. He's always, you know, got some obscure demo coming out with some band or some little 7-inch EP with the various projects that I mentioned earlier. I need to get a few of these Grotesquerie and Skeletal albums, actually. It's just they've never come up on my radar. But that I want to say Night Raven, but it's not Night Raven. It's Nat Revnan. Yeah, Nat Rev. Well, Night Raven. Nat Revnan, and it's a Cult of the Raven. But yeah, definitely check that out. This is one of his, you know, one of his best vocal performances, one of his best albums, definitely. So he's always been doing different things. So it's like, all right, you know. But the fact that he has, you know, we are where we are, and this is what they've put out. And yes, it is under the Massacre name. You can cry and bitch all you like, but this is a fucking good album. And whichever lineup, I mean, I've tried getting it as much as I can. So he's got the people that he's got on this album. Again, one of the guys only contributed some solos. I don't know touring if he's going to do half and half. As accurate as I've tried to get it today, I'm sure it's going to change at some point. But seeing Kam Lee with a fucking kick-ass band, excuse me, in a nice, cool venue, playing the classic songs off this and the EP, the Inhuman Condition. I got the standard edition, and you got the Inhuman Condition as the bonus tracks, and you got the artwork on the inside. But yeah, to be a good kick-ass band playing songs off this, mixed in with songs off that, there's certainly fucking worse ways to spend an evening, put it that way. So yeah, well done to everyone involved. You have created a fucking monster with this album. It's really, really infectious. Really, it rewards repeated listens. Every listen, it just gets better and better. It's catchy, it's fun, the riffs are great, everything's perfectly paced. It's melodic and shredded in one bit. It's groovy and chunky and catchy and hooky the next. The vocals are fucking harsh. And yeah, and just to that little bit of icing on the cake, you just get a nice little melodic bit as well. So it's nice and dark, nice and, you know, dingy and dirgy and atmospheric and intense. And yeah, it's just a great, it's just like that front cover, mate. It's just a fucking really cool tour of horror into the elder regions, shall we say. It's yeah, get lost in the Lovecraftian horrors of Massacre and their Resurgence. And I think the title says it perfectly. You know, this unearthly, ungodly, unholy creature has been sleeping in the depths for a couple of decades now, and it's now resurged as a completely different beast, and it's taken a whole new form, and this is what we have now. So yeah, well worth your time. One of the nice surprises of the year, and I'm loving this album with every listen. So definitely check it out. It's definitely worth your time. Right, I think we've just about covered everything. I've got a couple of different reviews coming up in the next couple of days. Probably in the next couple of days. And I've got this Let's Talk About Black Sabbath, which I'm preparing as well, coming out. So yeah, plenty more to come. Thanks for watching as always. And I'll see you all soon. Take care. Cheers.